Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's product update webinar, April product update webinar. If you can see us and hear us, you can go in the chat, say hi, let us know how the weather is, where you are. We'll wait a couple more seconds and then we'll get started. And happy Easter to everybody. All right. You should be seeing my face, Yannick's face, and the presentation deck right now. Perfect. All right, let's get started. So welcome everyone to our April product update webinar. Today we will be talking about our current version, which is 50.2.2. My name is Rosalie and I'm a customer success manager at Klient. I'll be your host today. We also have our CEO, Yanick. Hi.
Bonjour, Rosalie. Happy New Year.
And we have Isabel again today, who's from our customer success team, and she will be answering your questions in the Q&A and in the chat. All right, so if we go to the next slide, perfect. How to be a great webinar participant. As always, just make sure you participate to our polls. You can use the react button at the bottom. You can see the image there, and you can send us claps, fireworks, whatever you want. And use the chat and Q&A to ask questions, whatever you prefer. And then when you use the chat, you can decide for everyone to see it or just us. And without further ado, let's just get started with our very first poll. As always, we are curious to know. We know we have some customers that are new, some existing one. We want to know if this is your first client webinar. So yes, no, I'm a regular. I know I've been to a couple. And as always, I see there's always a couple of new faces that are joining. So welcome. Hopefully you like today's webinar and you join next time. All right. Thank you. Let's move ahead to our agenda. Perfect. So today we'll be covering fixes, new features, and improvements that were released in 50.2.2. That was released last week on April 16th. And then we will be talking about our new idea voting initiative that we launched last month. We talked about it on a webinar as well. So we'll just talk about which ideas got the most votes and which one will be up for voting next. And then we'll end by looking at our product roadmap as always. So shall we get started? Perfect. So first of all, if you have a look, we just have on the screen, we're showing a screenshot of our release notes. I just wanted to mention that, I just wanted to mention we've added a couple of emojis. Oh, there it is. We've added a couple of emojis to make the release notes a little bit more readable. So the first one is the light bulb emoji, which indicates that this specific idea came from a customer. So moving forward, any idea that you see has that means directly coming from customers. And we've also added another emoji, which is the rotating light, the red light, which means that as an admin, if you're looking at a release note, it may mean that you have to notify your user of this specific release, this specific feature, or you may have to do something after the upgrade. So it's kind of an upgrade consideration for you. So if you were to look at all of these and you see those lights popping out, it means there's something for you to do. So be extra careful and make sure to read that one. And just so you know, we'll continue making improvement to the release notes overall, like the readability of it on the left side, the menu, just to, again, make it easier whenever you have to do upgrades to know what the information is that is most relevant. So we'll keep you updated every webinar.
And we're going to upgrade as well the menu on the left side to bring all those notification or upgrade consideration. They're going to be showing on the left side here as well. So you won't drop any if you're an admin and upgrading clients. So it's going to make it make your life easier as well. This should be ready for the next webinar, hopefully, and talk about it next time.
Yeah, and we know that ideally everybody upgrades every quarter or so, so you do that often, so there's not too much to digest, but we're also conscious that sometimes customer upgrading after a longer while, and yeah, it can be a bit trickier to go through those, so hopefully that will help. Otherwise, for this specific release, you'll notice that our team focused a lot, yeah, you can see on the screen, focused a lot on tweaks and adjustments. To be honest, the team has been delivering so many new features and improvements lately, as you have seen in our webinars, that it may be a good thing that there's not as many for this one. But overall, for this release, we have 31 new fixes, tweaks, adjustments, however you want to call them. That has to be a record, Yannick, for one release.
Yeah, it's a lot. The idea is that we focus a bit more on the stability and the performance of the release. There were not any major blocker, but all small thing that could be reproducible sometime only on the customer environment. But yeah, we decided to go ahead and proceed with those enhancements. So we focus on that. This being said, we still have a lot of cool stuff to show today during the demo.
Perfect. And as always, you can click on those links and then get direct access to the release notes from our community. We also included a list of, there they are, the less notable improvements, still important. I think, Yannick, you wanted to talk more specifically about 2 of those, right?
Yeah, we won't be demoing it, so I thought that maybe just including a screenshot. So we've added that assignee column a few releases ago, and as of today, this release, they were showing pretty much every assignee that you had, even the close assignee, either on the project side, on the task side. So now we remove that. If it's a close PA or TA, they've been removed from that column, so they won't be showing. And as well, on the right side, you can see we have a spend tab. It's a tab that's not often used, but it's very useful. Now you can also control the fields that are showing here via field set. So those are the 2 that I've thought that was worth mentioning as other improvements we have in this release. So.
Yeah, and for that second one, you'd need your admin to go and change those, right?
Exactly.
Perfect. All right. Now let's have a look at the more notable ones, the ones we're actually going to be demoing today. And actually, since most of those are, as you can see, related to the resource planner, I figured we'd do a resource planner poll. Just ask a couple of questions. So as Yannick is going to show you a screen, he can focus on specific things. So we have 3 questions. We want to know if you're using the export functionality in the resource planner. We want to know if you're using the scheduled or plan view most, and we'll dive into what each one means. If you don't know what they means, just write, I don't know. And if you're using the presets in the resource planner as well. These are things we've always talked about, but we're just kind of curious to know where people sit in. So I'll let the poll open. And Yannick, you can start talking maybe about our first one, the hiding empty row.
Yes, so this one is very useful. So it's in the resource planner where you can hide empty rows. So before we had the custom setting that allows you to remove some of those empty rows. So it was a bit tricky because it would remove it for everyone. So now we've introduced that as a toggle, as you can see from here. So the concept and the idea is that let me open up, for example, Roxanne Green here. And we can see that she's assigned on a lot of projects, which is normal. And some of those projects are still undergoing, but she doesn't have anything assigned in the next few weeks. But those lines are still showing. And as you can see, you can scroll a lot just to see her real workload to make sure that you are aware of what she's working on. So this is useful because sometimes you do want to add some of that scheduling on your resources. But when you just want to consume and see what your people are working on, now you can easily just trigger that toggle, and it's going to now start showing only the rows that have some assignments, some hours assignment for that specific resource. So I know this is something that was wanted, and that's going to be very useful for several of our customers. So it's pretty simple, right? So it's simply just a toggle, but in terms of usability, it changed a lot of things. As well as you can see, Rosalie, as usual, you have that small red icon asterisk here on the right side, meaning that when you select this, you can save those in your preset. So we do encourage you to save those. I'll do it right away. So now every time I'm going to open up that specific preset on the planner, it's going to only show those rows. If I want to, like I said, if I don't see my project and I do want to add an assignment, I can just flip back that toggle and then go and proceed to adding those new project assignment to my resources. Simple, but very useful.
Yeah, and Yannick, correct me if I'm wrong, but if someone were to export their view from the resource planner while the toggle is on, that would also be keeping those empty lines out, right? Similar to the preset?
Yeah. Absolutely. So we have that export functionality here. So you can export as a PDF or as a PNG. So let's say I'm exporting it with the PDF. You can see that now I'm only showing those lines that have some schedule on it. So that export also take that into account.
Very nice. Thanks for that. And before we move on to the next one, maybe I just wanted to do a little recap, just maybe share the result from the poll, just so everybody can see, because I'm sure you're curious. We just talked about the export functionality in the resource planner, and it looks like most people are not using that. So maybe you're not aware you can use it, but I know there's, I'm sure there's some people that are going to be checking out after today. Scheduled versus planned view. It looks like most people are using scheduled, which is good. I think that's what we want people to do, so good to know. And then the presets, surprisingly, people are not using the presets as much in the resource planner. I think people are maybe more familiar with the presets in the workspace. But we've added so many new features and toggles and filters in the resource planner that maybe it's a good opportunity moving forward, especially after today's webinar that we focus a lot on resource planner, to go and start leveraging those. We'll see, but thank you for answering, everyone.
Absolutely. It's a time saver. Those presets, the idea is to really be able to switch between your view and your lenses very easily between your team. In my example, for example, this was my professional service team, but you will see in my next segment of the demo, I'm going to be switching to my dev team. And now I will only show my dev team. So absolutely presets are very useful.
Yeah, and I see Zach's comment in the chat saying that the presets are really crucial, especially if you're making it the default for everybody or sharing it with everybody, which is actually one of the features we'll talk about. So very good point, Zach. All right, let's keep going.
Okay, next one, it's we've added a new filter, project owner on the resource planner. So going back and like I said, I switched my view. Now I'm looking at just my developers. So those are all the project. And if I'm looking at my filter, that all my roles of architect, QA, and developer. In this example, I only have developers. This being said, I'm showing this through my filter. And we've added a new filter, which is the project owner, which is here on top, meaning that now I can see, let's say I just want to see my project or just the project of some of my resources. So the owner of a project, I can add that filter, and now it's showing only the project that Jenny Red own. And Rosalie, as you know, right, there's only one owner that you can have on either a project or a task or anything within clients. So there's only a concept of ownership, and accountability is very strong. So that ownership is going to help as well to just filter out your project as, for example, or if you want to look at the project of one of your teammates, you're going to be able to do it with that specific filter. And you can stack multiple resources if you wanted to. This being said, if you just want to look for one specific resource, you can add it for one specific resource.
Perfect.
So we're adding again, this was a request from our customer to be adding some of those filtering. So this is an attempt to facilitate again searching and filtering data across the resource planner.
I feel like we've added one new filter every last release for the resource planner. Now we have quite a lot.
Okay, so those are small functionalities. So the demo is going very fast, but again, very useful. Let me go back. So this one, it will be the next one. So the default view is now schedule view. So we'll talk about the concept of a schedule view versus the plan view. So let me switch back again my preset. So as you can see here from the top right, I'm in the schedule view, and you can switch it via the cog icon or the gear icon. You can switch to the plan view easily. What's the big difference? Schedule view relates to tasks. So this means that you have people that are assigned on tasks. So here what I have, it's my list of project. But when I'm opening up that specific project, I can see that Roxanne is assigned on the design task on that Acme project here. So this is what the difference between schedule and plan. So schedule means that you see the task. So if I'm changing back to my plan view, now you can see I don't have that chevron or that icon to expand, because those are the hours on the project solely. And there is benefits of using both. This being said, we do want to encourage our user to create tasks underneath their project and using the schedule mode. And the way that those hours are being flown through from task to project, because those are two different numbers that can be shown, and that specificity is controlled by a pick list or a checkbox on the project side of things. So if I'm opening up that specific project and I'm looking in that detail panel, in your configuration section, you can see here that you have sync project and task schedules, meaning that when this is checked, the number of hours for that specific project or the total number on the project level side will be the same between the schedule and the plan. But in some respects, sometimes you want to break that link, and meaning, for example, when you sell at the beginning of a project, you want to keep maybe just the project values as planned and use the task assignment as you go on. This is one of the way that some of our customers are using that representation between schedule and plan. So you can uncheck this, and then the numbers will stop syncing between the two. This being said, more and more people are always keeping this as checked and are using the schedule instead of the plan view to look at their data. And the schedule is giving you a lot more functionality, such as looking at your different resources to swap resources based on skills and tasks. And that schedule default value is going to be represented in every one of our planners. So in my schedule, the resource planner or the project planner, now they're going to be defaulted to schedule. That's why we've marked it as well as upgrade consideration. If you want to default back to the plan, you just have to switch it and again, use preset and just save it, because this will be remembered within your preset as well. So this is the way that you can go back if your team is not using the schedule yet. Please contact us if you want us some guidance or look at our e-learning and courses. But otherwise, you just have to save it in your preset, and this way you're going to be back to that plan mode by default.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that the schedule is not a default based on what people answered on the poll, because nobody said that they use most the planned. So it's just more aligned with whether people are actually.
This was a long time ago when we were more focusing just on the project side of thing, and task and the workspace was not as strong as it is now. People were using a bit more plan. Now a lot more people are using the schedule. This being said, there's always a use case for the plan as well, but we encourage people to use the schedule version of it. Yep.
Sure.
The next one.
Yeah, that's one we've been talking about for so long. It's finally here.
Yeah, preset sharing. So preset, again, it's key when you want to be efficient with our tools. So we have preset in every one of our interface. So on the workspace, on the planner, on the Kanban, we do have those preset. We will see later on that even my deadlines will be coming with presets in the future. And those presets, sometimes you spend a lot of time defining your preset. In this case, for example, I have a list of resources. I have some specific roles, might have some statuses, the way that it's represented based on the number of columns, the way it's grouped, all that information and all those toggle. I can spend a lot of time to really get exactly what I want to see when I want to look at a specific practice, a specific type of project. So now it's very easy to share with the rest of your team. So when you click on your preset itself, you just by creating one, by saving it or saving it as another one to clone it. But now you have that share button that allows you to just yourself can see that presets. Everybody in the company can see that preset, or you can decide which user as well can see that specific preset. So let's say I'm sharing it to Jenny Red. And let's say I think I have Jim, let's say Jim Black. I'm going to be able to select and define which preset, which resources I want to share that preset with. And just by saving it, then they're going to start seeing it in their list. And Rosalie, you might want to ask what is that icon?
What is this icon?
So this is how you know that this preset has been shared to you. So for example, I can see here that that trainer, and if I hover on top of it, it's very small in the demo screen, but you can see that it's shared by Jenny Red. So Jenny Red has shared that preset with me, and now I can just look at my trainers or my coach that I have. So this is the way that you can know that it's been a preset that's been shared to you. So sharing, very interesting, very powerful. People were using it on the Workspace a lot, but even with the conversation I had with some of our customers this week, both the identity column and that sharing preset was a big highlight for them. Yeah, please start using it. It's very powerful.
And if I can add something, because after today, I imagine some people already have presets and they'll go and share them, or you don't have presets, you're going to create them. If I can encourage you to make sure that the naming convention, like what you name your presets, if you're going to share it with everyone in your organization, make sure it means something to everyone. Like it's a little reminder, but just to keep that in mind, because that's what they're going to see on their end.
Really good point. Okay, next functionality. So if we're going back, this is an improvement. So those share preset will apply to all your current project resources or user and all future project resources. In the past, it was just on the time you were sharing it, it was shared with the current user base. But now it's going to be shared. If you add a new user, somebody new in the company, they will also have access to that new preset. So this is an add-on to that sharing functionality that we've put together. And this is true for not only this resource planner preset, but sharing, but also the workspace share.
Perfect. Nice. Making onboarding smoother.
Yeah, exactly. Less admin work, more customer work.
Yep.
Okay, next thing, workspace component. So the workspace component default preset. So again, the preset topic. So if I'm going back to my environment here and I'm switching to that specific project, and again, now I'm in the workspace, I have my grid and my timeline, my Gantt on the right side, and I have different preset that I've set for myself and I might have shared with my team. But also I have one as an admin, I have one that I want the customer, for example, to be able to see. And this one is called timeline. Again, the naming convention, like you said, Rosalie, so timeline customer. And you can see there's a new icon next to it. It's a globe icon, meaning that it's being used as a default preset somewhere in your system. And one of those use cases is to be able to share, for example, in your customer community, being able to share a project timeline to your customer, but you don't want them to look at different angles or have to figure out which preset to go look into. So this is one of the specific use case. So let me just log in as Billy Blue, which is a customer in this environment, and he has his logging access to access his customer community. So now I'm logged in as Billy Blue. Which has access to some of our project within this environment. So if you open up this project, and for example, when he's going to be looking at the timeline, this is a project I want to share with him. I might have some homework that I want to share, that I want Billy Blue to be able to access and maybe share a file with me, or be able to see what is the status of the budget for this project. But I also want him to have access, for example, to the timeline. So now that specific Gantt or Kanban, not Kanban, the workspace that I've dropped here, you can see that by default, it landed on that timeline customer preset. Okay. You still have access to flip between the other preset that has been shared with him. He can even, if you give him the right, he can even create his own preset, but by default, it's going to land on that specific preset. It's called timeline. So I don't want him to see the grid. I want him to see that specific timeline. In our example of our roadmap that we're going to be sharing later on, Rosalie, we want them to see, we want our customer, you guys, to see the grid on the left side and the Kanban on the right and the statuses. So again, this is what we use to share those, and we're going to be using that default preset. And the way that you configure this, if I'm going back to my slide deck, the way you configure this, let's say you want to drop it in the community like I just did. This is the community setup window. You just drop one of our Gantt Lightning component in one of your pages. I'm on the project page here. When you click on it, you can see here that I have some option, and we have that preset ID that you can just input. And this is how you make the match between that default preset that's going to be loaded. And you get that ID, you can access all preset, and this is just for view only. We don't recommend to do any changes in that specific object, the client preset, but to get those ID, you can see here, for example, when you're listing all your preset, I have that timeline customer that I've created. This is the ID of that preset, and I just have to copy that information here. And now every time it's going to be loading as the default preset. If I have drop it on another page, let's say I drop it, you can see I have a roadmap page here as well. If I drop it, that component on the roadmap, I can set up another preset for that roadmap with the example I just said with the grid on the left and the Gantt on the right. So this is how you configure those default preset ID for the workspace.
Nice. And I think for using it in the customer community, it's really making it easier, simpler. A lot of our customers are saying, like, we want the experience in the community to be as easy as possible, less clicks. So just having the right view right away is going to make that possible. Great.
Exactly. And we're making other improvement in the future release about sharing presets. So you're going to be able to share only with those presets to your specific customer portal or customer community user. So other improvements are coming in regards of sharing too. And that small icon, this is what it represents, that this preset is being used as the default preset somewhere in the system.
Perfect. Thanks.
I've shown this in the community, but it could be also done in if you drop the component in any one of a custom page that you might create that you want to show a specific project or you want to show a specific view, you can use that preset not only on the community side, but you can use it as well on any one of our pages that you might have created.
Perfect. And if you need any help setting those up as well, you can always email our support team and we can help you out. All right.
Absolutely.
And yeah, before we get into that one, I just wanted to launch a quick poll. Let me just, oh, there it is. All right, so let's do a quick poll. I know some customers are using client surveys for end of project surveys, which is what we talk most about, I feel, in general. But we're curious to know if you're using them for NPS surveys. So I just launched the poll. I don't know if it worked. Are you?
No, I don't think so.
No. Did it? Oh, I don't know if it worked. Anyways.
I don't see it.
There's something weird on my end. Let's skip the poll then. We just wanted to know if you are using NPS surveys at your organization. And if you're using client surveys, because that's what we're going to talk about, NPS surveys now. So you can answer in the chat or we'll just jump into it, actually, Yanick. So let's just talk about that.
Let's skip the poll. And let's look at the what it is. So again, NPS, it's a Net Promoter Score, and the default functionality of a Net Promoter Score is really to start to 0. So in the past, our system only started at 1. So we made that improvement. So if I'm going into my survey, so I'm going to launch my survey configurator. And here I can see that I have 3 surveys within this specific environment. So if I take my post go live, now you can see that those NPS score start now at 0. Before they were starting at 1. So the real representation of NPS, like I just said, start at 0. So it will be listed like this, and this will be applied for all the new NPS survey questions that you will be sending. They will include that 0, but it's backward compatible, so it will not break anything. This being said, there will be a new value in your survey that you send to your customer. There will be that new value of 0, but it's not going to break anything, so it's backward compatible, and you can do that logic of the NPS calculation based on that 0 as well. So there's not much I wanted to show here besides that nice NPS that you can use across all our surveys. We use this for internal employee survey as well that we send every week. So always, would you recommend our company to our friends, or you can use it at the end of a project, like you said, or any other scenario. You can use that NPS across the board.
Perfect. I think I figured out why it wasn't working, because I was still showing the results from the resource planner. The resource planner. Sorry about that. All right. So that kind of concludes all our new features and functionalities that are available in this latest version. So as always, now the poll should be working.
Yep.
We just want to know, of all the ones that we mentioned today, which one you most excited about. So we've got a couple related to Resource Planner, the default preset, and the NPS scale. And then, did you already upgrade to our latest version released last week? I'm conscious that it was released 1 week ago, so maybe not all of you have done it, but it's always good to know. Curious as well if people are waiting for the webinar to upgrade, or they're upgrading and then doing the webinar and then anyways. So it looks like, oh yeah, most popular one, Resource Planner preset sharing. That makes sense. And yeah, most people haven't upgraded yet, but it's on the bucket list, which means they're waiting for the webinar before upgrading. Good. That makes sense. All right.
And we had a question with Darian about the smileys for survey. So I guess we're going to come back to it with the idea voting. We have one of those ideas that is more question about the survey. So I guess Darian, it's a good thing that you're going to be able to go vote for that new idea and even put a comments if you want that smileys instead of just the stars.
All right. Thanks for voting, everyone. And what I'll do now, let's talk about ideas voting and product roadmap. So on our last webinar last month, we did talk to you about our new initiative where our customers can vote for their favorite ideas. Since then, we have received some votes, and our product team has selected the most popular ones, which are the 7 you see on the screen right now, and they will be incorporated to our product roadmap. So let's have a look at these ones. And then these ones will be delivered in the next 3 months, depending on how complex or simple they are to be done. So let's have a look. And by the way, when you see this medal emoji moving forward, it means this is an idea that was that won the vote. So you may see that in our roadmap, or you may see it in our ideas section in the community. So if we have a look at which ideas won, and then if one of you on the webinar today has actually voted or submitted that idea, feel free to let us know in the chat. So the first one, project status report, customizable template per project type. So right now, if you are using the project status report, you can only save 1 template. So this is the idea of this feature, is to be able to save more templates, because we do know that depending on the project type that you have, and our customers have different project types, you may want to show different information to different customers. So this is, again, to make this possible. And then on project status report, feedback we got as well is you would like to display the logo of your company on the report, which makes sense. So these are 2 things that we will be delivering. So yeah, don't know if you want to add anything on that, Yanick.
Oh, it makes total sense, because let's say you have a billable project fixed fee versus a project of time and expense. You don't want to share the same fields. Hours consumed is not something that you want to show on a fixed fee. So this will solve that issue that people were not using the project statuses on some project type. It makes total sense. And then the branding also totally aligned with our strategy to make sure that you can brand all your stuff with your logo. So those will be 2 great new functionality added to the project status report.
Perfect. And then my timesheet, remember all toggles. So right now, I think if you reload the page, toggles like the comment mode, hide weekend, PS component, those ones, they just default back. So to make sure that it's remembering whatever was set up. So just, again, making the easier to use the platform, and less clicks, less manipulation you have to do on your end. Timesheet approval, we have 2 on that one. This is we don't talk about timesheet approval, mass approval that often. The first one, task filter boss. So yeah, we've added, and I think Zach is happy about that. I see in the chat. We've added a task new filter field for the task. Yeah, let me just double check. Yeah, maybe Yanick, you can talk about that one.
Yeah, it's in the mass approval page. You can filter by project, you can filter by resource. There's different filters. So now we're gonna also add a task, so you can just search and just show those tasks more easily. So you don't have to scroll down the page to find exactly what you're looking for. There was already several options that's been added 6 to 9 months ago, but now this new idea that was submitted by you, most probably by Zach, will be developed in the next few release.
Yeah, and then for the mass approval as well, I think if you're using splits mode, historically, you're not able to edit the time comments when you're approving. And then moving forward, because we know some people are using the split modes, then we've just made that possible there as well. So probably a specific request from a customer as well. I imagine. And then another one for the project workspace, exporting to CSV to consider grid columns. So right now you can already export, if you're exporting on PNG, PDF, it is showing the right column when you're exporting, but not on CSV. So it's just to make sure that it also applies to CSV.
So
And then the last,
represent the column you're seeing in the workspace will be the exact same column you will have in your CSV. If you had to export some of it, this will be following that visibility on the workspace.
yeah, which is ideal. And I don't know how many people are exporting CSV versus PNG, but maybe it makes more people export this way now that it's going to be arranged. And then the last one for the resource planner, maybe Yanick, you can talk to that one a little bit.
Yeah, so in the past, as you know, you have an estimated number of hours, for example. You can log times on task, and quite often, let's say you're scheduling somebody to work on a specific week on some task, but they don't do their entire work. You can always overschedule or underschedule. And the functionality we had in the past is that you can align the schedule hours with the log hours, meaning that you have that remaining bucket of schedule hours that are left to be rescheduled. You could only do it on a task by task basis in the past. Now we're going to also do it on a project level. And we're going to provide you even more option. I've already seen the first iteration of this development. So you're going to be able to do several things. So selecting multiple project, one project, several tasks. So there's more even option than what the line suggests here. So you're going to be able to do it overall. There's another idea that's still in the community about what do you do with those hours that you are like after the realignment, you're going to be under schedule most likely. So what do you want to do with it? Do you want to reschedule at the end? Do you want to schedule it as a bell curve? So this is still an idea of voting. We didn't take it that pass around, but if you guys keep voting for it, most likely we can take it when we see you next time on the next webinar.
And hopefully that one is going to make more people use this functionality, because right now it's, yeah, like you mentioned, a little bit hidden in the task panel. So yay. Okay. All right. And then because we have those 7 ideas that won, we've moved them to our product roadmap. We'll actually remove them from the ideas section as well. But we're adding 7 new ideas. So you have a total of 20 ideas to vote for. These are the 7 ideas that we've added based on feedback that we got, feature requests, etc. So just to have a quick run through it, missing timesheet notification to use an email template. Right now, you're a bit limited on what that email is. So just giving you more flexibility here. Again, these are all things to be voted on. So if there's any of these that you're setting thumbs up and you're excited about, then the next step is to go vote for them, right? And then my timesheet comments mode. Right now, when you're using the comments mode, which is something we released quite recently, you're limited in which field you can edit. So just having more options there on what you can change, like project field, task field, etc. Workspace, show count of task. So right now, when you're looking at the workspace, there's no real way for you to know how many tasks are included in there. So the feature request would be for that.
Even on the standard record field of even in Salesforce, it's difficult to know exactly how many you have. So this is going to be it's going to prove very useful to know how many tasks you have across your project.
Yeah, and I don't know what, like when you have presets and filters on as well, it makes it even less clear. So just getting that information straight up. Support pick list field dependencies in grid. I know this, yeah, all these came from customers, but I don't remember which customer specifically. But yeah, so when you select an option in a pick list field, if there's another dependent one, you'll be able to only show the options that are logical from the previous one that you selected. Project import wizard, create project and task template without assignment. Yanick, I think you wanted to mention something about that one.
Yeah, so the idea is that when you're using our project importer wizard, it's going to recreate the exact project as you have it, including the project assignment. But let's say for a specific reason, you don't want to have those assignments and you just want to leave those assignments blank. You're going to have an option now. But the idea here to vote on it would be that you have a checkbox saying, do you want to remove the assignment and leave it empty so you can assign other people or another subset of people. So that's that's specific idea. It's that concept here.
Perfect. And display assigned task only setting. I think that's a little setting that we've added an option for, right?
So now again, it's a custom setting that's you can apply on a specific user, but it's global to the entire platform. The idea here is to be able to have that per project basis or even per project assignment basis, meaning that maybe Rosalie, you only see on that specific project the task that you're assigned on. While let's say I'm the project manager, I would see all those tasks. So that the idea is either on the project or on the project assignment, be able to toggle that setting so that now we have in a custom setting. So
yeah,
again,
so if these are considerations in your organization, then make sure to vote for that. And then the last one, the survey, which I think is related to what we got as feedback earlier. So being able to have additional question types. So haven't defined what those would be, but this idea is up for voting. So if you are looking to have more idea types, make sure to vote for that one. So ranking, matrix form, we've mentioned like smiley faces, whatever it is. Just make sure to vote for those ones. Even you can add for any of the ideas. I think you're able to add comments as well. So if you want to add further ideas, be sure to do that.
Yeah, so Darian, I added smileys. It's not in the description. I'm sure Isabel will update our idea list soon, but please go ahead and vote for that idea. And if you have other types that you would like, or if you want to specify exactly what you want with smileys, you can always put some comments as well.
Perfect. And then before, like, as we move to the next thing, so we talked about the new ideas, the ideas that were voted up. Next step is to vote for your favorite ideas. I just put up a poll because I'm curious. This is the second time we're talking about this, so it's still recently, relatively new. Did you already vote for some ideas on our community? Yes, you did. No, because you weren't aware you could do that. No, you wanted to, you just didn't have time with Easter and everything. Or no, you just don't want to vote for client product ideas, which would be surprising if you're joining today's webinar. I feel like you would have like a minimal interest at least. And then the next question, will you go vote for any of the new ideas? And I see everybody said yes, so that's very good. As a reminder, all you need to do is make sure you have a community login. So log into the community, go to the ideas tab. There you can see all 20 ideas if you scroll down, but easiest would be to just click on the sorting option and sort by recent. So you're going to see, you can see the dates that it was submitted. You're going to see all the recent ones, the 7 new ones at the top. So you can go and review for each one. You have the name of the feature, and then you always have a description under. If it's not clear to you, you can always add comment and ask us what this is, but it should be pretty clear. And then as you vote, the most popular one, again, will be doing this exercise on the next webinar and just putting those back on our roadmap. And then speaking of our roadmap that Yanick is showing right now, this is another tab that you have in the community. You can see this is updated by our team. You can see everything that's coming. You can see the due date. Our next release is actually coming, 50.2 coming on May 9th. So all the ones at the top, you can see these will be delivered. You can see the light bulbs as well, which means the ideas are coming from customers, the ones that won the vote. So you can see on the medals, there's already my timesheet remember toggle state that is coming on the next release, and it was just voted out. So voted in. So that's very positive, and some other ones that take a little bit more time and investigation. And otherwise, I think, did you want to add something on the roadmap, Yanick? Or we're good?
No,
Yeah.
I think we're on time, so let's move on. But a lot of cool stuff coming.
Yeah. And finally, a couple of reminders of best practices to follow. So we've included them all on the presentation, but today what I wanted to bring your attention to is the third bullet. So as always, we encourage you to email our support team at support@klient.com or create a support case from the community. With that being said, please make sure that when you are reaching out to our team, you include only one issue, problem, question, or feature request per case. This will help us prioritize and making sure we can focus on one thing at a time, especially the feature requests, one per case, and it's just going to help everybody.
Yeah, communication wise, it's going to help as well. And for you guys also, the status will be per case basis. If you put 5, we have to ourselves manually create 5 ideas for you, or 5 steps, because we want to track each one individually. They might not be resolved all at the same time. So please, just 1 per case. Perfect.
And I think that concludes our webinar. The last thing I will be doing is actually launching our end of the webinar survey. If you can take 1 minute, 5 seconds to just fill in the survey. And otherwise, I will be sending you a follow-up email after today's webinar, probably tomorrow, with a recap of what we talked about. And of course, I encourage you to sign up for our next webinar, which will be, usually it's towards the end of the month. I'll have the exact date, always on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So thank you so much. And May 22nd. Thanks, Isabel. We'll see you next time. And yeah, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Rosalie.
Bye.